Problem number 1. For a contest, participants are asked to guess how many jelly beans are in a jar. 3 of the guesses are 260, 234, and 274 jelly beans. One of the guesses is off by 9, another is off by 17, and another is off by 31. And we're asked how many jelly beans are in the jar. Oh boy. This doesn't look like an easy problem, and you're right, it's not an easy problem. But the first rule of problem solving is don't panic. All right, it looks um, it looks impossible. You've got only 3 guesses, and you've got what the guesses are off by, but you don't know which guesses are off by how much, and you don't know whether these are numbers that are too high or too low. They don't give you a whole lot of information, but I wouldn't have given you this problem if it wasn't solvable. So if it's solvable, you can solve it. So that's the first rule: is don't panic. It's not that bad. Just start thinking about what do you know. What do you know? You know 3 guesses, and my first hint to you, I would say, just sort of arrange these guesses in order. Let's put them on a number line, actually. So I'm going to draw a little number line here. All right. And down at the far end, the smallest one is 234. All right. The biggest one is 274. And then the middle one is 260, which is 14 away from 274, and it's, what, 26 away from 234. So I'm actually just going to put it right about here. So this is 260, all right? And this is, the difference here is 14, and the difference here, I'll just mark this on here, is 26. Okay? So, what are the possible number of jelly beans in this jar? Well, the number of jelly beans either has to fall in this range, below 234, or it has to fall in this range, between 234 and 260, or it has to fall in this range, between 260 and 274, or it has to fall in this range, all right? Above 274, okay? So that sort of, narrows it down, kind of, right? I mean, we've got 4 different places where it could fall, all right? And I would say that would be my hint. Just work with that. Think about what you know, and, given how much these guesses are off by, what could the possibilities be for the numbers of jelly beans if they were to fall in this region, if they were to fall in this region, or this region, or this region, okay? So, don't panic, and just start thinking about what you know. And I'm going to go ahead and solve this problem, all right? So I'm just going to do just what I said. I'm going to look at each range, and I'm going to say, well, given how much the guesses are off by, what would be the possible number of jelly beans if they fall in each of these different ranges? So first case I'm going to look at is if the number of jelly beans is below 234. Well, I know that 234 has to be off by either 9 or 17 or 31. And if it's off by 17 or 31, if it's, well, if it's 2, I guess the number here is 2. If our actual number of jelly beans is here, then 234 is too high. So the so if you look at these numbers of jelly beans and you compare it to 234, how far could this one be off? Could it really be off by 17 if it's down here? If it's 17 below 234, then there's no way that 260 or 274 could be off by 9. So essentially we've ruled out 2 of the possibilities. We've ruled out this number, the actual number of jelly beans can't be lower than 234 by 17 or 31. It would have to be off by 9. So let me just, so So let's say if this is off by 9, then we could subtract 9 from 234 and we would get 225. So that's our first possibility. If the jelly beans are less than, the actual number of jelly beans is less than 234, then the only possibility is that that number of jelly beans is 225. Okay? And my reasoning is that if it was lower than 234 by 17 or 31, then there's no way it could be 9 off from 260 or 274. And you could use the same logic up here. If the number of jelly beans, the actual number of jelly beans, is greater than 274, then the most that it could be, more than 274, is 9. So that would mean it was 283. So if the number of jelly beans is greater than 274, the most it could be would be 283, or the only thing it could be would be 283. Because if it were more than 274 by 17 or 31, then there's no way that it could be 9 away from 234 or 260. Okay? So in these ranges, we've narrowed it down to two possibilities, right? 225 if it's less than 234, and 283 if it's greater than 274. Well, and we can just test those. So if so 225 is our first possibility. If we add 17 to that, because we know it has to be 17 off from one of these other numbers, right? So if we add 17, we get 242, which is not one of our other numbers. So that eliminates this possibility altogether, okay? So it can't be 225. And the same way here, if the number was 283, which is 9 more than 274, then if we subtract 17, right, because we know that one of these numbers has to be off from 283 by 17, but if we subtract 17, we get 266. So those are eliminated. Hey, all right, so we've got our we're eliminating possibilities. That's good. We're getting it narrowed down. So we just got to keep working at it. All right, so let's say that the number of jelly beans falls in this range, between 234 and 260. Well, 234 is either off by 9. If it was off by 9, so if it was off by 9, then the number would be 243, right? And it could be off by 17, and that would give us a number of 251, right? If it's off by 17 from 234, okay? And could it be off by 31? Well, if we added 31 to 234, it would be greater than 260, so it wouldn't be in this range anymore. So the only possibilities we have to test are 243 and 251, all right? And here, we could use the same logic. So this number could be off by 9. So if we add 9, that would make this 269. But if we look at 17 and 31, well, if we add 17 or 31 to 260, we get a number that's greater than 274. So it wouldn't be in this range anymore. So in this range, we only need to check for 9 more than 260. So look at that. We've got it narrowed down to 3 numbers that we have to test. Hey, it's getting more manageable, right? So, all right, let's just go ahead and test them. All right. So we know 243 is 9 more than 234. So let's take 243 and let's add 17 to it. See what we get. If we add 217 to it, we get 260. Alright, I'm going to scroll down just a bit more too. Alright, well, that's good because one of the guesses was 260 and it was off by either 17, 31, or 9. So if 243 was off by 9 from 234, then it's off by 17 from 260. So, that's a possibility. And if we look at 243 and we add 31 to it, what do we get? We get 274. What a deal. All right. So this to me looks like a possibility. So let's keep that one. Let's go ahead and test these other ones too, though. 251. If we add 9 to it, now this one was already off by 17 from 234, so it would have to be off by 9 from some other number, right? That's why I'm adding 9 to it, because I've already used up the 17, because it's 17 away from 234. And if we add 9 to it, what do we get? We get 260. All right, well, it's still in the running. Let's try 251 plus 31. That's the only other one we haven't checked. So if we add 31 to 251, we get 282. Well, that's too high, right? It's more than 274. So that eliminates this possibility. All right, and our other one is 269, right? That's our other possibility. Now, that is 9 more than 260. So if 269 is the number of jelly beans, the actual number of jelly beans, and because it's in this range, it has to be 31 away from this, and it would have to be 17 away from this. Okay, so I'm actually going to take 274, and I'm going to subtract 269 to see where it falls. And if you do that, you'll see that it's 5. Okay, so it's only 5 away from 274, and it's 9 away from 260. So you can see that this also is not a possibility. So this is our answer. 243 is the one that works. So I'll write it out here. 243 jelly beans is the answer. And doesn't that make you feel good to figure that out? You know, it looks like an impossible problem, but you know, you just don't panic. And just that half the battle in problem solving is just not panicking and having confidence that you can do this, you can solve it, and just thinking through it carefully and methodically, and you'll get it.